What if I told you that you're not broken? The self-improvement industry makes billions convincing you otherwise. The more you consume, the more inadequate you feel. There's a brutal truth about self-improvement that, once you understand it, will completely change how you live. But before I reveal it, I need to ask you a question. Are you actually improving, or just running from who you are? Stay until the end, because what comes next will turn everything upside down. You know what's fascinating? Right now, as you're watching this, there's a version of yourself living in your mind. A better version, more disciplined, more successful, more complete. And you're chasing it every single day. But here's what nobody tells you. That person doesn't exist, and they never will. Let me explain. The philosopher Kierkegaard talked about this over a century ago. He called it becoming. We're always in the process of becoming something else, never actually arriving. You think once you hit that goal, once you build that habit, once you transform your body or your bank account, you'll finally be that person. But watch what happens when you get there. The goalpost moves. Suddenly it's not enough. There's another level, another version, another mountain to climb. This isn't motivation, this is a trap. Psychologists have a term for this, the hedonic treadmill. No matter what you achieve, your baseline happiness returns to where it started. That promotion you worked 2 years for feels normal after 3 months. That body transformation, you're already noticing new flaws. The mind adapts, and the industry knows this. They're counting on it. So here's the question that should terrify you. What if you're sacrificing who you are right now for a mirage? What if the person you're trying to become is just another product being sold to you? Think about it. Every guru, every course, every transformation program is selling you the same thing. Dissatisfaction with the present moment. They need you to believe that right now isn't enough, that you aren't enough. But the ancient Stoics understood something we've forgotten. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, wrote in his private journals, "Confine yourself to the present, not because the future doesn't matter, but because the present is the only place where life actually happens." You can't live in the person you're trying to become. You can only live as who you are, right now, in this moment. And here's the brutal part. Every second you spend at war with your present self is a second of your life you'll never get back. You're not living. You're preparing to live. You're rehearsing for a show that never starts. So I need you to ask yourself something and be honest. When was the last time you were genuinely okay with who you are today? Not tomorrow's version. Not the once I fix this version. Today's version. Can you even remember? Because if you can't, then the self-improvement isn't working. It's just keeping you busy. And there's a massive difference between growth and avoidance. One comes from acceptance. The other comes from fear. Which one are you running on? Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you next reveals the hidden cost of this chase, the things you're losing while you're busy trying to win. And trust me, nobody's talking about this. Let's talk about what the self-improvement industry doesn't want you to see, the collateral damage. Because while you're optimizing your morning routine, tracking your macros, and hustling for that next level, something else is happening. Something quiet. Something you won't notice until it's too late. You're losing time. Real time. Not the productivity hack version of time. I'm talking about the irreplaceable moments that make up an actual life. The dinner you skipped because you had to hit the gym. The friends call you ignored because you were in the zone. The sunset you didn't see because you were staring at a screen, consuming another video about how to be better. Seneca, the Roman philosopher, warned us about this 2,000 years ago. He said we're not given a short life, we make it short by wasting it. But here's the twist. We think we're not wasting it. We think we're investing it. We're building. We're grinding. We're becoming. But Seneca would ask you, becoming what? And at what cost? Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychologists who ever lived, talked about the shadow, the parts of ourselves we reject, deny, and try to fix. He said that we don't become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Translation: you can't hate yourself into a better version. You can't discipline your way out of self-rejection. That's not growth. That's violence. And here's the part that's going to sting. For many of us, extreme discipline isn't strength. It's avoidance. It's a socially acceptable way to run from the present moment, from uncomfortable feelings, from the terrifying question of whether we're actually okay as we are. We hide behind productivity. We hide behind goals. We call it ambition, but sometimes it's just fear with a vision board. I want you to think about someone you know who made it. Someone who checked all the boxes, the body, the business, the lifestyle. Now ask yourself, do they seem free, or do they seem like they're still running? Because I've seen it over and over. People who win the self-improvement game but lose themselves in the process. They reach the top of the mountain and realize they climbed the wrong one. There's a study that followed high achievers for over 20 years. You know what they found? The ones who were happiest weren't the ones who achieved the most. They were the ones who maintained relationships, who stayed present, who didn't sacrifice their humanity on the altar of success. But that's not sexy. That doesn't sell courses. So here's my question for you. What are you sacrificing right now in the name of becoming better? And is it worth it? Really worth it? If this is hitting different, if you're starting to see the game for what it is, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel. Because we're going against the grain here. We're not selling you another system. We're waking you up to the one you're already trapped in. And trust me, you'll want to be here for what comes next. Because here's the thing nobody tells you. There's another way. A way to grow that doesn't require you to be at war with yourself. A way the ancient masters actually practiced, but the modern gurus conveniently forgot. And it changes everything. But first, you need to understand why the current approach is broken. Why discipline without self-compassion is just suffering with a schedule. Why you can't force transformation. And why the people who truly changed the world didn't do it by hating who they were. Ready? Because this next part is where everything shifts. Here's where everything you've been taught gets flipped on its head. Because there's a type of growth the self-improvement industry will never sell you. Why? Because it doesn't require you to buy anything. It doesn't need a course, a coach, or a 12-week transformation program. It's called radical acceptance. And it's the most powerful thing you'll ever practice. Now, before you check out thinking, this is some soft give up on your dreams nonsense, stay with me. Because radical acceptance isn't about settling. It's not about lowering your standards or becoming complacent. It's about something far more revolutionary, growing from a place of wholeness instead of brokenness. And that changes everything. The Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius didn't become a great emperor by hating himself into discipline. He practiced what he called amor fati, love of fate, love of what is. Epictetus, who was born a slave, taught that freedom comes not from changing your circumstances, but from accepting what you cannot control and acting on what you can. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. Buddhism teaches the same thing from a different angle. The concept of radical acceptance comes directly from Buddhist philosophy. It says, suffering comes from resistance to what is. You suffer not because of your circumstances, but because you're at war with reality. And here's the kicker. You can't change what you're constantly fighting. You can only transform what you first accept. Let me break this down practically, because this is where it gets real. There are two types of improvement, healthy improvement and toxic improvement. Healthy improvement says, I'm enough as I am and I'm excited to grow. Toxic improvement says, I'm not enough until I change. See the difference? One is expansion. The other is desperation. Toxic improvement wakes up and immediately checks what's wrong. It measures, tracks, and judges. It sees the body in the mirror as a problem to fix. It treats rest as weakness. It turns life into a performance review. And it never, ever stops. Because the finish line keeps moving. Healthy improvement wakes up with curiosity. It asks, what feels aligned today? It grows because it wants to, not because it has to prove something. It rests without guilt. It celebrates small wins. And here's the key, it comes from self-compassion, not self-hatred. You can't hate yourself into lasting change. You'll just burn out or become someone you don't recognize. Carl Rogers, one of the founders of humanistic psychology, discovered something profound in his research. He found that people only truly change when they feel fully accepted first, not after they change, before. Acceptance creates the safety needed for real transformation, but our culture has it backwards. We think we need to earn acceptance through achievement. We've got it completely upside down. So here's the framework. Stop asking what's wrong with me. Start asking what's right with me that I haven't fully expressed yet. Stop forcing. Start allowing. Stop fighting who you are. Start exploring who you could become from that foundation. The greatest masters in history didn't become great by going to war with themselves. Socrates didn't hate himself into wisdom. Jung didn't shame himself into understanding the psyche. Viktor Frankl didn't survive the concentration camps by rejecting his humanity. He survived by embracing it, by finding meaning in the present moment, no matter how dark. They became great by integrating all of who they were, the light and the shadow, the strength and the vulnerability. They didn't try to become someone else, they became more fully themselves. And that's what real growth looks like. So ask yourself right now, are you growing or are you just punishing yourself with a prettier vocabulary? Are you expanding or are you just running faster on the same treadmill? Because one will set you free, the other will just make you tired. Here's what I want you to try, just for one day. Wake up and instead of immediately thinking about what you need to fix, ask yourself, what if I'm already whole? Not perfect. Whole. What if growth isn't about fixing what's broken, but about expressing what's already there? What if you stopped improving and started living? What would that even look like? I know this is uncomfortable. I know it goes against everything you've been taught. But discomfort means you're close to something true. And what's coming next is the truth that will either free you or make you angry. Either way, you need to hear it. You've been lied to. Not by one person, but by an entire system designed to keep you chasing. And the biggest lie? That you're incomplete. That you're a project. That you're not ready yet. But here's what I need you to understand, and I mean really let this sink in. You were never broken. You don't need fixing. You need remembering. Every philosopher, every psychologist, every spiritual teacher worth listening to has pointed to the same truth. Socrates said, know thyself, not fix thyself. Jung talked about individuation, becoming who you already are at your core. Viktor Frankl survived hell on earth and concluded that meaning comes from embracing life as it is, not as we wish it were. They weren't selling transformation. They were pointing you back to yourself. The self-improvement industry has convinced you that you're under construction, always building, always becoming. But what if you're not a construction site? What if you're already complete and growth is just you expressing more of what's already there? Not adding, uncovering, not becoming someone new, becoming more authentically you. Think about a seed. It doesn't become a tree by rejecting what it is. It becomes a tree by fully being a seed first, then naturally expanding into its potential. It doesn't hate itself into growth. It doesn't track metrics. It doesn't compare itself to other seeds. Just grows because that's what it's designed to do when the conditions are right. And the same is true for you. But we've created the wrong conditions. We've turned growth into warfare. We've made self-love conditional on achievement. We've traded presence for productivity. And we wonder why we feel empty even when we're winning. It's because you can't win a game that was rigged from the start. So here's the truth that will either liberate you or terrify you. Stop improving. Start living. And watch what happens. I don't mean stop growing. I mean stop treating yourself like a problem that needs solving. Stop postponing your life until you're ready. Stop waiting for permission to be okay with who you are right now. What if you just lived today as if you were already enough? Not perfect, enough. What if you made decisions from that place? What if you pursued goals not because you're broken without them, but because you're curious what you could create? What if rest wasn't laziness but wisdom? What if you could be ambitious and at peace at the same time? The masters didn't preach perfection. They preached authenticity. They didn't chase an ideal. They embraced reality. Seneca spent his life writing about how to live well, and his conclusion, live now, not later, now. Marcus Aurelius had infinite power, and still wrote that the only thing that matters is this moment, this choice, this breath, not tomorrow's version of you, today's. Here's what nobody tells you. The version of you that you're chasing will never arrive, because by the time you get there, you'll have created a new version to chase. It's an infinite loop designed to keep you running, but you can step off the treadmill anytime you want. You just have to choose presence over perfection. Being over becoming. And I know what you're thinking. But won't I become lazy? Won't I stop growing? No, you'll actually grow more. Because growth that comes from acceptance is sustainable. Growth that comes from self-hatred always burns out. You can't run on shame forever, but you can expand infinitely from a place of wholeness. So here's my challenge to you, and I'm serious about this. For the next 7 days, stop consuming self-improvement content. Stop the podcasts, stop the videos, stop the books. Just live. Be present. Notice what happens when you're not constantly being told you're not enough. Notice what emerges when you stop trying to fix yourself. And then ask yourself, who am I when I'm not trying to be someone else? That answer? That's where your real power lives. That's where your authentic growth begins. Not from rejection, from recognition. You don't need another strategy. You don't need another guru. You don't need to be saved. You need to wake up to the fact that you were never asleep. You were just convinced you were dreaming the wrong dream. The brutal truth about self-improvement? It's that you don't need it. You never did. What you need is to stop running and start living. To stop becoming and start being. To stop fighting and start flowing. And when you do that, something miraculous happens. You don't become a different person. You become more of who you've always been. And that's more powerful than any transformation program could ever promise. So stop improving. Start living. And watch your whole world change. Not because you became someone new, but because you finally remembered who you've always been.